Hello and welcome to week 22 of Bits and Bobs, where we outline this week's best mods. First up today is the Breton Longbow. The Breton Longbow mod adds a new longbow to the game. The longbow itself takes inspiration from English style longbows, which were used in medieval times for hunting, and it was also used in warfare. The bow is craftable at any forge and requires only simple items to craft it, but it is quite strong, so you'll need the advanced smithing perk to be able to craft it too, meaning you'll have to work to get your hands on it. As I said before, the longbow is styled after the old English style longbows that were used mainly between the 13th and 15th centuries, and you can definitely see the similarities of this bow compared to the bows in real life. Both share a rounded and polished shape in the bow itself. The maker of this mod has also made an elven weaponry mod in the past that includes elven arrows that we think go great with this new longbow. We'll link both in the description below if you want to check that out too. The Breton Longbow is a simple yet efficiently designed weapon, and its simplicity is something that makes this bow a must-have for us.
And for this week's second mod we have Royal Bloodline, an addition to the Vampire Lord's perk tree and abilities. The mod adds an extension to the tree that unlocks after you master all of the perks in the vanilla tree. The starter perk is called Royal Bloodline, a perk that increases your armor by 50 and your health, stamina and magicka by 10%. It also changes the Vampire Lord armor to the Royal armor worn by Harken. As you head up the tree you'll find Sharpened Talons, a perk that increases your melee and critical damage every rank, with a max rank of 3. You'll also find Sanguine Perfection, a perk that increases your blood magic by 20% per rank, also with a max rank of 3. Heading further up the tree and you'll find Blood Transmutation, a new spell that converts 25 health to 15 magicka and stamina every second, which can actually be quite helpful, or deadly, depending on how you use it. On the same level you'll see a new perk that expands on a vanilla perk called Summon Goliath, which gives you the ability to summon a gargoyle boss instead of just a regular gargoyle. And finally, the last perk is Highly Evolved Wings, that allows you to fly as a vampire in levitating mode. The flying actually works surprisingly well, and everything is smooth. You also hover, so you can pretty much get completely out of range and then use your blood magic to take out most enemies without a fight. Also, flying currently doesn't work in the exteriors of towns, but the author is working on a fix. The mod also comes with a few other handy features, like being able to interact with objects and also being able to loot while being a vampire. And overall it's a well thought out expansion to the Vampire Lord tree, and the author plans to expand by adding a new Royal Vampire Lord armor, as well as add new skills and make any necessary balancing updates.
And if you want a mod that focuses more on the flying aspect of that last mod, you might want to try out the new Vampire Lord Real Flying mod. The mod allows you to fly as a Vampire Lord and not only hover like in vanilla Skyrim. To start flying you simply have to sprint and hold down the direction that you want to fly in, and if you let go of the sprint button you'll stop flying and fall to the ground. So it's impossible to attack from the air with this mod. Don't worry if you accidentally fall though, as fall damage has been disabled while you're transformed, and your stamina is infinite, meaning you'll always be able to sprint. Currently with the mod installed, if you fly you'll clip straight through things, as the collision system has been disabled. But the mod creator is working on a fix to that problem, so expect it to be improved upon soon. Compared to the Royal Bloodline mod, this mod gives you better control while in the air, and it's more smooth. Alternatively, the Royal Bloodline mod allows you to attack from the air and has collision. So both mods have advantages and disadvantages when it comes to flying, so it's up to you which one you find more comfortable to use.
And now we have a simple mod that replaces the sprinting animation with one that puts your character on all fours. The mod was designed for the Khajiit race, but to restrict it to just that race you'll need to download a separate mod which can be found on the mod page. The animation itself is very similar to the werewolf sprinting animation, but with more of a bounce to it. And the animation will only work when you have nothing in your hands, but when you unsheath your weapon the switch from being on all fours to standing is fairly smooth, so pretty much everything about the mod works well. The author is also keen to make any necessary tweaks and fixes, and he's also working on a sneaking animation that also puts your Khajiit on all fours. So if you're playing a Khajiit and want an interesting change of pace, then add the file to your tracking list on Nexus.
And for those of you who love HD retexture mods, we've got the unique HD retextures mod. The mod is a project that aims to make all of the weapons in Skyrim use a 2K texture. They also changed certain details on some of the weapons to give them a different look entirely. Right now the mod has changed all of the swords in the game to use the new textures, and the mod creator is rapidly adding new features, including a recent overhaul to the entire Iron, Steel, Draugr, Dwarven, Crossbow and Elven sets. In the video you're seeing the retextures that have been done to the swords only, to give you time to see all of the small details that have been changed with them. You may notice that some of the weapons change more drastically than others. For example, the Iron Sword has a new leather look to its hilt, but the blade itself doesn't change that much. But if you compare it to the new Daedric retexture, it looks like a new blade entirely, with a brand new high-res blade and hilt. As I said, this video is only showing you a tiny sample of what's included with this mod, and the mod creator is expanding on it every day, so go and check out his mod page to see even more of his great work.
And now we have an armor replacer for the Vampire Lord. As of right now the armor, which is a variation of the Daedric armor fit for vampires, is a direct replacer, so every Vampire Lord will have the set equipped. And because it uses Daedric textures you can change its appearance with a retexture mod. It also works for both males and females and doesn't give any sort of stat boost or level of protection, so it's pretty much just an aesthetic option. And for the most part the armour fits well and there's very little clipping issues. And as of right now you can either download a full helmet version or a no helmet version, and the author plans to expand by creating a completely new model for the Vampire Lord, as well as expand into armours for werewolves. So add the file to your tracking list on Nexus if that's something you're interested in.
If you're tired of the same old animations in Skyrim, the improved combat animations work in progress mod may help. Right now the mod replaces the standard animations when you're moving or idle and have a one-handed sword equipped. The mod creator has also recently added a file that changes the animation for mages who wield their sword in their right hand. The new animations take parts from both XP32's new animation pack and Juleson's Pretty Combat Idols, and adds them to animations that have been made for this mod to give you another option for how your character will stand, walk or run with a one-handed weapon equipped. The new poses aren't supposed to look combat ready. They focus more on the aesthetic appeal of how your character will react, opting for a more relaxed stance when idle and a more fluid motion when walking or running. Remember, this is a work in progress, so you can expect more in the future. It's a great alternative for those who want to change from the vanilla animations.
And now we have a mod that uses the new crossbows in Dawnguard to add 2 Dwarven Rifles to the game. The first and most powerful of the two is the Dwarven Rifle, a gun that uses Dwemer technology to fire new bullet ammo. The second rifle is called Dwarven Rifle B. The author doesn't speak any English, so certain things like that are expected. And although the rifle is less powerful, it has a much faster reload speed, which we'll see in just a second. Let's start off by shooting the first Dwarven Rifle using a standard bullet. It works pretty much as it expected to, but it does come with custom firing sounds which adds to the illusion. You can also barely see the bullet fire out of the rifle because of its speed, but for the most part bullets work like the standard arrows in the game. And now let's shoot the Dwarven Rifle B using the 3 elemental bullets, and those are lightning, ice and fire, which again behave like the elemental arrows already in the game. A lot of you seemed interested in a rifle variation of a crossbow, so if this is something that interests you then you can find a link for this and any other mod in today's episode down below. And that's the end of today's show. Remember to endorse or favourite any of the mods if you enjoyed them. You can suggest mods either down below or over on our Facebook page, which can also be found down below. And thanks for watching.